was a long ass countdown. Damn.
Man, shut your goofy ass up. Dude, why your man always got clear the green room. He always got something to say. Like he's never just satisfied with anything. He always got some bullshit to say every single daggone time.
Slow ass countdown.
It's a regular countdown. That's how seconds work, you clown. So check this out, man.
What's up, man?
Here we go.
I'm perusing social media, minding my authentic Black business,
right?
And
here comes Karen.
I saw some of Elgin's people show up, and I didn't know if it was the new trend or not. So Elgin, I want you to talk about this. How come?
No!
That's what we doing on these streets. That's what we doing on these streets.
Just got lines, names on their face.
My man's got put the wave cap. Put the wave cap and
my man got anti weather conditions on his face.
And the pomade slamming there.
Yo, that's disgusting, man.
Waves on the bed? Man. Come on, man. Is that Philly, man? That's not Philly, man.
That's not Philly, bro.
That cannot be Philly, man.
That's
Philly. This is what they doing. They putting the pomade in. They got the beard bonnets on it.
Beard bonnets, pomade, man. Come on.
Listen, my guy. I wanted to make sure.
Wait, so you can't confirm this, Elgin?
Bro, that ain't me, bro. I don't know them.
But what are you gonna do if out in those Philly streets you see these wavy beards, man?
Bro, that's a fight right there, bro. That's a fight.
So on site, just
gonna
knock him out and drag him to the barber, get him straight.
Weird wears across the world. I got to punch you in the mouth for that, bro. I'm sorry.
Look, I love Philly. I love the city. I've always had a great time out there, except when they try to break into my car. But you know, the gear, the style, the music, the food, you know, it's all. But you know, every now and then, there's one or two things that seem to kind of, you know, inch close to a line that I can't quite describe.
Hi.
And I don't know where it comes from. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as I know a lot of righteous brothers out there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where all these chemicals and beards come from.
Hey, Crush,
we are habitual line stuff.
I don't mean to get controversial here. I'm sorry.
Don't let L take his L for tonight. We are habitual line stuff.
Yo, we need to get some other Philly representatives over here to vouch for this.
Yes. Welcome. What's up? What is up? Back once again, it is the incredible In the Black podcast. And in case you weren't aware, this is a podcast dedicated to covering the current events and social issues going on in your Black world and covering it all from the perspective of three grown-ass men who are not on the no-fly list. I am your host, Big O, Mr. In the Black himself. Amen and amen. But you know I can never do this alone. Let me introduce the rest of the...
Fuck it up. Go ahead, sir.
Let me introduce the rest of my CBS 9 crew. Crush, say what's up.
What's good, everybody?
L, say what's up, man.
I don't know who they are.
It's your local news station. What's wrong with you? L, that's because L don't read no books. That's because L don't read no books. Yes, indeed. And please, if you are following us across YouTube, make sure you hit that thumbs up button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on the next show. And of course, please make sure to follow us across social media at In the Black PBCST on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram. Help support independent Black media, where we're going to give you the real 100 all the time. Now, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, though, please, Elgin, can you tell these good folks how they can become part of the family if they'd like to become part of the family?
Yes, I can, Sean. Hey, you can head on over to intheblackpodcast.com. We got to fix this. In the right-hand corner, you can click the Become Family tab, where you can, man, there's so many things that you can do. And I know I joke about this every time, man, that we get to this point. But this is a very serious component, man. It's going to really help us grow and do great things. You don't have a lot of black media, a lot of black alternative media with spits truth. You can help us become that and stay that by becoming a member of the family, man. You can buy swag. You can buy some T-shirts, hoodies, bonnets, all different types of shit. You can become a member of the Patreon, or you can just donate. We take EBT, CVS, your SSN, your CVS, debit card, your stimulus.
You'll take the PIN too.
Yeah, you are the reason why we get so many terrible letters. I just want to make sure you know.
I believe it.
It's official. I'm just letting you know. Yes. So we are now going to jump into the black box for this evening, and the black box for this evening is actually an interesting one. Comes from Taylor. Now, I don't know how I necessarily feel about the question, because it's three married men asking this question about single life, and it's not nothing dramatic necessarily.
Another question when we get our asses in trouble. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks, Taylor.
You always ready. You always ready for that. All right, so here we go. So Taylor writes, "What's up, Kings? I just stumbled across an article that I think would be a great topic for your show, or at least I would like to get your thoughts on it. The article said that a third of single women have admitted to going out on dates to get a free meal. When I read this, it made me feel some sort of way. I met a young lady before the pandemic online. We've been talking on the phone a lot and meeting for lunch every other weekend or so. Then the pandemic hit and things slowed down. It didn't dawn on me until after the article, but she ghosted me almost immediately after I told her that I didn't feel comfortable going out to restaurants during this period. Even on one occasion, I told her that I wouldn't mind coming over to her place and making her dinner. She turned me down. And I know what you're thinking, but the relationship never even got to the physical stage, which makes it even wilder to me. I know that some dudes out there aren't worth anything, but playing these types of games makes it hard for guys like me, 38 years old, that actually want to settle down and have a family. What do you guys think? Am I overthinking it, or what? Has this ever happened to you?" Taylor. So, yeah, since L is enjoying his foolishness, I'm gonna let L go ahead and let L go. Go ahead, man.
Oh, Taylor got ghosted in the pandemic. That's
Damn.
Ooh, bro, that's fucked up. Boy.
And there, we've lost the listener because L just can't control himself.
Let's get some close shit.
Whoa, Elgin, just give you a. All right, you know what? We're just gonna go to Crush. Can you tell us what do you think, Crush?
I mean, I feel for the brother, man. I mean, to answer his question, yeah, I kind of was something similar once, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't overthink it too much. I mean, I think you've drawn your conclusion already. There's nothing more to say, man. Just move on, to be honest with you. And you've learned your lesson. You've saved some dollars. You know what I'm saying? So, hold on to that, for the next one. You know what I'm saying? And then just be cautious on, how hungry she gets. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so before I let Elle go, Crush you up.
But take note of these periods of hunger. You know what I'm saying?
So there's actually a term for it. It's called a foodie call. So like a booty call. It's called a foodie call.
Oh, man, that's cruel.
And they're talking. I'm going to share because the article he posted it, and it's actually a study done by a university regarding this. So let's take a quick look at that. Let's see.
Man.
So it says.
Right, I'm good.
So here we are. It says foodie call. Up to 1/3 of women date to get a free meal. Survey finds. Would you go out on a date? And this is according to research in the Journal of Social and Psychological and Personality Science. Fuck up.
Shit. There was flashbacks.
It was my internet Tourette's happening right there for a second. Like, goddamn. Okay. They found 23 to 33% of women admitted to engaging in at least one foodie call. That's when a person sets up a date with someone that they're not romantically interested in for the purposes of getting a free meal. Researchers at Azusa Pacific University and UC Merced did 2 surveys on the topic. They found that women who admitted to a foodie call also scored high on the dark triad of personality traits, which includes which includes narcissism. While the report focused on heterosexual women, it also says people of all genders can engage in foodie calls. Of course, I don't think that we're going to be limited in that regard. So, that being the case as well.
All right, Taylor, listen, bro. First off, man, it happens, man. One of the things is just keeping it honest. I think all of us have done a foodie call of some sort or went out to eat with an attractive woman just to be in the presence of an attractive woman to eat some food and have some good company. It's not.
I think that's different.
What's the difference here?
Listen, said.
So you think these women are going out with women?
They said that they would intentionally set up dates.
Hang out. Go ahead.
They would don't put that label on me. I don't need that fucking smoke in my life. So they would intentionally set up dates with men that they have no interest in to get a free meal. That is different from someone saying, so hold on. "Hey, I like you. I want to be in your company. I'm willing to put out these dollars for that meal."
You think these people of all genders are going out to eat with unattractive people who they're not interested in just to get a fucking meal? Is that what we're going to say? Is that what we're going to say? That we're sitting across? Have you ever eaten a meal with some ugly ass people in front of you?
We said that they were unattractive. We said
that they're not attracted to.
They have no interest in. That doesn't mean that they ugly. Why do you always got to take it to the next? Why you got to be like this?
That's what they say, man. That's what they say. I don't have a problem with it, man. I really don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal, man. I saw a lot of people online who really had their panties in a bunch about this article.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that big a deal. You went out to eat with a woman who really wasn't trying to give you no play. Maybe you had a good conversation. You got full. You went to the crib and you hopped on Pornhub. Who gives a shit? I don't understand why we're turning this thing.
So now you're also
just move on. Just move on.
He left this lunch to go get some rich action. Like, why do you always have to be?
The problem starts when there's more than one meal.
But I think that's
when it keeps happening.
At that point in time,
if it keeps happening like 3 and 4 times,
I think that's the thing. Listen, if we read what Taylor said, it seemed as though he had multiple lunches with her and was expecting like, okay, we're building something. And then all of a sudden it's like pandemic comes and you're like,
so
my thing is,
what did you say, Al?
Wait.
I said it could be 100 reasons why he hasn't heard from this woman. It's the middle of a fucking pandemic.
But wait a minute. Like those multiple meals though, and he's 38 years old, right? Multiple meals across those multiple meals. I mean, brothers, you all know what rhythm is. You all know what the vibe is. Like, and women go, what the real vibe is. You know what I'm saying? Like, after multiple meals, you're gonna know what the real vibe is. You're gonna be suspicious. You're gonna know if it's solid or not.
Because
you know what I'm saying? I mean, she can't. I mean, is he that good an actor through multiple meals? I mean, unless the food's that good. I mean, I don't know. But
if she got multiple meals,
I would have picked up on that. Like,
brother, that's your fault,
after the second.
You know what?
She got two.
Where I was leaning. That's where I was leaning with it, man.
Multiple meals.
Taylor, we love our homies, man. We got nothing but respect for you, but at the same time, I do. You're gonna have to hold that L, my guy. I'm sorry. Like, and real talk. Let's take a step back. Real talk.
His James Harden.
Step back. I gotta ask the question. Are you really ready for marriage, my guy? Like, people because I had this conversation earlier today with some of my homies on Facebook, and all these people are like, well, they're getting tired of motherfucker. They're getting tired of dating, right? It's like the dating seems to be such a slog. It's annoying and so on. I said, all of y'all want to get through this dating scene and get to marriage. Marriage ain't for everybody, man. It's not for the weak of heart, my guy. I don't know what movies
you know what marriage is. Marriage is literally dating somebody 25/8, not 24/7. 25/8. That's literally what it is. You are literally
even when you're sleeping.
Even when you sleep. Because
even when you
don't
sleep,
take
bro.
a damn blanket. Don't rub your feet and they cold on her.
Man, even when you're taking a shit.
Yeah, my guy.
Make sure that
when they taking a shit. Let's not act like they don't shit.
Come on, my guy. Like it's crazy, man. It's crazy because I remember I had an issue with my wife the other day, a couple weeks back.
Don't do it.
Listen.
You leave right of this one. We're talking about shit. You ain't got to bring it up.
Listen. So normally, right, if I go out because I'm considerate,
this is gonna end badly.
It probably will. I'm gonna eat that. I'm gonna eat that later.
Probably.
Typically, I'm considerate, right? And when I'm going out, I'll make sure either before or while I'm out, I'll call my wife and be like, "Yo, listen, I'm out. Is there something you want? Something you want me to bring you? You want to eat? Whatever." And typically, she says yes or no. Come this time, I didn't call her or offer to bring her something. And your man was coming back from work and he was hungry and he grabbed some food and he sat down and we started eating this food. And then somebody comes to meet me and is like, "Oh, so that what we doing? We just eating without eating?" And I was like, "What? So that's what we doing? We just eating,
you on your own, bro. Listen, I ain't got no bill for you.
There is no eating for one. There is no eating for one ever.
Who were you thinking about? Who was you? Did you forget that you got married, bro?
Brother, you are one stomach.
Listen, my guy.
Yours is the smallest. Hers is the biggest. You know.
I think the hunger just banged me. Like I wasn't in my right frame of mind. But Lord knows that when she came to me, she started saying, and I looked at her like,
ain't shit you can say, bro.
I'm like, you serious right now?
We eating by ourselves? We eating by ourselves?
Right now? You serious?
What the hell was you thinking about?
We're eating for ourselves now? Are we eating for ourselves? Are you just eating for me?
Or God forbid, she says that she doesn't want anything. The one lesson that I've learned is that when she says, "No, I don't want anything," and I still bring something back, because there was one time I didn't bring something. I said, "You said no." She's like,
"Oh, bro, come on. That's early dating 101."
But that's my point. That's my point. Now multiply situations like that times 365 over the course of 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And I mean, people forget that love and relationships and marriage specifically, it takes a lot of goddamn work. It's not something that you just roll up, wake up in the morning and it just works out. No.
Love has such a little to do with marriage. It's unbelievable.
Rewind that.
I said, man, love has such little to do with marriage, man. Now, come on. I'll go on the ledge by myself, bro. You know, I'm a big boy.
Yes. You can hold that up by yourself tonight. Go. Expound on it.
Listen, because it's so much more than that. It's about compassion. It's about commitment. It's about honesty. It's about communication. Love in and of itself will not sustain your marriage.
Facts.
It won't. Now, you go ahead and think that's what's going to do it or not.
Facts.
But if you ain't willing to change and adapt rather, bro, listen, don't even do it.
If you're not willing to truly communicate,
oh God,
truly communicate, God. Because we're all some pretty smart brothers here. We like to think we're doing quote unquote the right thing until the completely wrong thing happens, and we're like, I thought I was being open. No, you weren't.
Until she says you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, and then you realize you weren't being open or even honest.
I think that's also part of the dilemma, right? Is being able to gauging what honesty in your relationship looks like. And I know that sounds crazy, right? But being able to tell someone the truth, the whole and unguarded truth without offending them, or whether or not you being unvarnished with them and being blunt and direct, work with the person that you're with, or whether or not you kind of have to massage it sometimes or whatever the case may be.
Well, you already had to get past that barrier of the idea. You need to just shut the hell up sometimes. Well, no, you already have to get past the barrier of the idea that anything that you believe in or are passionate about is something that could be considered offensive. You know what I mean? You have to get past that first.
You got a point, man. I don't know how to call it for Taylor. For real. Like
I do.
It's been a long. Listen,
we've been on a tangent there for a minute.
For the three of us at least, right? For the three of us at least, we've all been married for at least 10 years at this stage.
Yeah. Definitely.
So talking to someone about dating when you've been out of the game for, let's even say 15 years, the dating period and then the marriage period, that I don't know how to. I can't call it, my guy. I can't tell you what to do.
Dating now.
What I will tell you is that you were being a simp. You weren't reading the signs. You weren't reading the cues the way you should have, because for her to string you along for however many lunches you guys had, and you didn't figure out, like, okay, she ain't never say she want to come to your place. She ain't never invite you to her place. Like,
I mean, no, she ain't never give you that look. She ain't never give you that look. You know what I'm saying?
You offered to cook.
Look.
She told your ass look.
And she said no.
Because ain't too many women turning down a free meal at their house.
At their house.
Yeah, cooked in the home that they can leave leftovers at? No.
Well, apparently she didn't trust you. She didn't trust you. She don't like you to that. You should have read that off Jump Street, man.
And it's a pandemic, man. It's a pandemic, Taylor. She could be dead. I mean, let's give her some grace.
And on that note, Taylor, we want to thank you for sending in your letter. We really appreciate it. And if you want to get your emails and comments, actually, before we jump to that, Taylor, we're going to send you. Because L gave you the business, I'm gonna send you 2 t-shirts. How about that? Because L is in the basket, I'm gonna send you 2 t-shirts.
I didn't call you simp, though, bro.
If you want to get your emails and comments shared on the show, you can, of course, reach us at our intheblackpodcast@gmail.com, or you can follow us across social media and hit us up with a message at any point. Okay.
My man,
we have a guest. We have my homie Jay Taylor. He's going to help us jump into one of the conversations later on. But we're going to.
Taylor.
I'm thinking about, my bad, Jay Scott. He's going to beat my ass when he comes up on the my homie Jay Scott, entrepreneur extraordinaire. He's a Navy guy, but I won't hold that against him.
Easy, bro. Don't be disrespectful now. Come on now.
You know y'all Navy dudes ain't shit. But go ahead, Jay Scott. Welcome.
Yeah, give him that, bro.
I feel like I'm waiting for Bomani Jones to come out. This man had defended me twice in 5 seconds. That's
you just got here, bro. Hold on.
What's going on, Jay? I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, I'm all right. I just got in from the store. I'm tired, but I'm excited. Like,
man, I see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on, man.
You're looking extra sleepy, my guy. Maybe you need to do something about that.
Yeah. Well, I had a bang. I didn't even feel good.
He could have not showed up and went the hell to bed. Is what he could have did.
Well, here we go. I get called. Jay Taylor. He was like, "Hey, buddy, just be glad you're on the show, okay?"
Glad we brought you on. All right, so we're about to jump into it. L, why don't you take it over with annoying orange impeachment, okay?
Man, yeah, my man got impeached twice. But I know we want to talk about him, but I think in the midst of the conversation, it's important to also talk about the inauguration, what's about to take place here in a couple of days, because I think there's some really serious things that are taking place. Some reports are coming out according to CNN, actually, thousands of armed pro-Trump extremists are planning to surround the Capitol during the inauguration. They're talking about 4,000 people preventing Democrats specifically from entering into the Capitol during the inauguration. So, in spite of this dude, who is a horrible human being, being impeached twice, the threats and the seriousness and the reach of his evilness is still touching people and getting people to do all types of things. I think it's something really to be concerned about. I think him being impeached, to me, okay. I think we need to talk more about what the impeachment actually does for him after office, more so along with getting him out of office. Because, I mean, motherfucker had a couple days left. Yeah. What does the impeachment actually do for him once he's out of office? I think that's the important part. Sean, so share that component, man. What the hell happens? What does it mean?
Well, at this point, let's keep it all the way. Let's keep it all the way 100. He now has 7 days remaining in office as the United States, the president of the United States. This vote, to be very frank with you, is really a symbolic vote. Vote whether or not to say that all the things. Well, I won't say all the things because we're not going to rehash old shit.
No.
But what he did at that rally was something that could not be tolerated, and what the end results with a insurrection essentially would not be tolerated, whether or not America was going to punish those people responsible. He's already been impeached, and we understand how the impeachment process works. Articles of impeachment are brought by the House, Nancy Pelosi and her crew, and then it is then brought to the Senate, who would then do the actual trial portion to convict or try him to say whether or not he's guilty of what those charges are.
Sure.
At this point, as it stands, that wouldn't happen, which is one of the reasons why they want to wait until, or they're trying to wait until the new Senate is brought into play. But additionally, the biggest argument is that they don't want to, Democrats, the public at large, does not want to pay this dude after he leaves. Okay, we're going to give him all these benefits and all these other things. And the fear specifically of him running for another office once he leaves.
Sure.
That's another interesting thing, because he could be impeached, convicted, and said, yes, he's guilty of those charges that were brought up in the articles of impeachment. But then they have to vote again on whether or not they're going to disbar him from being able to hold any other political office after he leaves. So those are two separate votes that have to happen. And given circumstances, who knows how that's going to tenure out. We've heard a lot of Republicans recently saying that, what Trump did was bad, but we should impeach.
Yeah.
So think about how that's going to work. And I think part of the process for the one that would force him to not be able to hold political office, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've read, it needs to be a super majority, which means 67 people need to vote and say, no, he should not hold political office after he leaves. I don't know about you. Yeah, we got 51. If Kamala Harris would be the dividing if it was just a simple majority, but I don't see 67, my guy. I don't see it. So, like I said, I could be wrong. Somebody correct me if that's not the case. If it's not,
you are correct.
So that's where we are at this juncture. I think that one of the most interesting parts about this dilemma right now is that because of what happened last Wednesday, we now have National Guard units stationed in the Capitol, sleeping in the Capitol.
20,000.
They said we now have more soldiers in the Capitol now, or in the grounds of DC, than we have in Afghanistan and any other hotspot locations that you could possibly think of that American troops are currently stationed. Put that into perspective. That we have 20,000 troops here to stop another possible insurrection
by American citizens.
Then we have fighting Al Qaeda and the Taliban and all those other folks. That's gotta hit you some sort of way. You know what I mean?
I think it's part of what they're doing is a cleanup to what they didn't do before. So they have to show this strong sense or image of force because they dropped the ball before. With the information that's coming out that actually says that many of the people who showed up for this insurrection and this attempted insurrection were on the FBI terrorist watch list. Yeah. Like these folks, they knew. I mean, there was every indication that it was some of these people knew that these folks were coming. So the show of force that they're showing now is almost like, are they taking this threat that is possibly coming serious, or are they just showing a sense of force as a way of saying, yo, listen, we know we fucked up, so we gotta do something different, i.e. impeach Trump?
I don't know if the impeachment portion is the way to necessarily make up for that. I think that honestly,
you know what makes up for it?
I'm gonna let Jay go ahead. Jay, what do you think, man?
Hey, I've said so much. I do agree with everything that's been said. It's a show of force in the military. Y'all know that term. A show of force is meant to try to deter, like, escalated actions. So them putting all those people out there, it's a contingency plan. They may have to be able to fight these people, but this is, all these militias that have been fighting and arguing. It is just a culmination. I find it ironic when I see Pence and these guys like taking a stand against Trump. I'm like, where y'all been the last 4 years? Like, right. It's the same person. And then the dangerous narrative is like, we know Orange Man bad. None of us are trying to cape for him in any way, right. But we're looking at the fact that this man was voted to be reelected by millions of Americans. Now y'all want to turn your back on him? Like, it's just, everyone is realizing that the writing's on the wall, so they're trying to distance themselves from him. But it's dangerous because you really don't know who's sincere until, like, the shit right. Really fan. We're still waiting on that. So.
Nah, you're right about that. And matter of fact, as you're talking about that, he actually came out with some additional comments, and we'll talk more about why we believe the comments came out. But let's take a listen to what he recently said.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag. No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement. You are attacking it, and you are attacking our country.
Now, many people believe that this third statement that he's made is honestly to try and clean up the fact that, like Jay already alluded to, a lot of people have been distancing themselves from him since last week, Wednesday. We have the PJ Tour dropped him. The city of New York, Mayor de Blasio already came out and said, we're cutting all our contracts with this guy. Who else? A bunch of different tech companies all across the board, because of what has happened, has said, we're not donating money to the Republican Party anymore until these things get fixed.
Yeah,
so let's keep it all the way 100. Is it really because they're genuinely concerned about the
that's temporary. That's temporary.
it's the money has spoken, and we now see these people that have been enabling him and coddling him these past 4 and 5 years. Now all of a sudden saying that, yeah, he's responsible and he needs to take responsibility. But I don't think you should impeach him because that would divide the country. As though the country's not already divided. They literally tried to murder all of you in the Capitol because the country is so divided.
Is the country divided though?
The country's been divided since.
Said violence is not the American way.
I mean, violence is as American as apple pie, Mike. I'm sorry.
There would be no America without violence.
Right, that's what I'm just saying. I mean, it is what it is. So for people to act brand new and act naive at this stage really is very. It's not only disheartening, but it's also
it's patronizing.
Yeah, it is. It's extremely patronizing. So what do you guys think will happen during the inauguration? Do you anticipate that there's going to be something that happens? Let's not forget, before we jump into that, I'll open it up to you guys afterwards. There are planned protests at almost all 50 state capitals between the 18th and the 20th. So I want to make sure that we put that out there. So what do you think, if anything, would happen at the inauguration? Do you think with the current show of force that nothing's going to happen?
That ain't scaring nobody away. If they want to meet, they're going to test the limits, and whiteness is the last line of defense against whiteness. So they're going to hide behind that. But the very reason why they didn't want to display, remember Edmund Pettus, they had no problem. They said this ain't new. The cameras knew when all these black folks was getting beat upside the head, but things start changing when white folks start getting beat upside the head. It needs to be televised, but they're going to try to dissuade these people, keep them separated. You know, this is a country with the history of the Ku Klux Klan. Says it's their, their
American right.
Their American right to come storm down. And it's my American right to put a bullet in their head, but we can't do that. So certain things they talk about dividing the country, and that's just a point that's meant to gaslight people that are really trying to expose what's dividing us.
Yeah, I think you're right. Crush.
Yeah, I mean, they're claims that it's going to divide the country. This just covering up for their fear of Trump's base. Numbers definitely will show up at the inauguration. Will there be an actual physical confrontation? Maybe. At the same time, I think certain people, on our side ain't trying to play around either. So I think, especially when I saw the night shift from that first time, white girls were getting tossed everywhere. It was hilarious. Night shift showed up, and they were busting their ass out there. They were cracking heads out there that night. So if we're seeing that in broad daylight, then I need popcorn.
Elgin, go ahead.
I think the difference will be, man, if these folks show up armed. If they show up with weapons, that's a whole different game changer, man. Because I gotta believe that these folks are willing to die for their cause.
Yep,
like this type of thing is within the very fiber, within the very blood of America, to see so-called patriots attempt to kill themselves to get their purpose and their cause pushed to the forefront. It is in the fiber of this country. It's in the very blood of what this country do. So it would not shock me to see armed battles and armed violence taking place during the inauguration. That shit would not surprise me at all. Do I think it's going to take place? No. I think there may be some attempts across the country, maybe some of the smaller capitals that are not as heavily armed. But I think that at the inauguration will be safe. But I think the one thing that really scared me, though, was that they said some of these senators were talking about how they felt like it was an inside job, that some of these terrorists were able to get in and knew certain places that they can go inside the Capitol, information that no one else is privy to. So
it's hard to believe.
So I'm watching.
I was watching about these other.
No, I was watching CNN earlier today, and it really blew my mind. There was a woman. This is a video. I don't know how the FBI or whomever got a hold of this video, but there was a woman from one of the corner windows of the Capitol with a bullhorn.
That meeting inside?
It wasn't even like they had folks indoors ransacking somebody's office, and she was outside with her bullhorn, and she was literally giving them step-by-step instructions on what door is coming next, which door you should take, because that one leads this direction and this other door leads in that direction. So I'm not at all surprised that this could possibly be an inside job. Not to mention
the panic switches in a lot of the senators' offices were gone.
We're taking out. They said they're taking out like the week before, not even like, and they said these senators were giving tours to people during a period during a period where folks aren't supposed to really be in the Capitol. So now
it is a lockdown procedure.
One of the biggest things, one of the things that I think that was the most interesting, and it hasn't really been spoken about, okay? Now they have, because of the inauguration, I think more importantly because of the insurrection that happened, they now have metal detectors at the Capitol building. Some of the Democratic people, some of the Democratic representatives have said that based on conversations with FBI agents and those people from the Capitol Police, that the metal detectors are not for outside threats. It's for their folks that they don't trust on the inside. Why? Because many of these newly elected politicians have now taken to coming into the Capitol armed. So you coming into the Capitol armed, you already said Joe Biden didn't win this election. You've been promoting it and doing all that other stuff for how many weeks? And you're going to still come to the Capitol armed after an insurrection? I don't blame them for feeling some sort of way, feeling they can't trust these other folks.
That's how black people feel.
I grew up on the east side of Detroit in the 90s. I remember metal detectors going into the school. You telling me the Capitol building doesn't need metal detector? Why is that like now just the thing? The exposure of the luxury.
Because white people showed up.
Exactly. Over and over. That's the hardest pill for them to swallow, is the stuff like what Elle said. Well, we've been screaming. They're saying it, and we go, tell me more. Let's hear it.
Evan's right, man. You got to keep your head on a damn swivel these days, boy.
Man, listen, I want all black people to take the day off.
No, I am. Sure.
Elle's friend Carmen showed up. She's right though. It sounds like something from a House of Cards,
Queen.
It is.
Sounds like something from House of Cards, my guy.
Take the day off, man. If white folks want to battle it out,
no bullshit. Let them battle it out, man. Let them battle it out.
I have to admit, I'm very curious as to how things are going to go for the remaining 49 states. We're talking like Maine, Nebraska, all kinds of locations, Seattle, Washington. All these capitals. And I've heard about how the FBI with their 56 officers, they feel prepared, but the individual law enforcement for each state, state patrol, it's going to be a lot for them. I do wonder that. I don't know how realistic it is to coordinate across 50 states, but I guess when whiteness got to do what it got to do. I don't know.
I think that one of the things they're going to be challenged with, I don't think, to be very, very honest with you, because this thing has been fomented for such a long time, not to talk about just these militia groups and these white supremacist groups that have been literally, I know we deal with hyperbole sometimes, but these people have literally been preparing for a day like this for years.
Of course.
Yes. For years.
Stocking up guns.
Stocking up left right. These folks, I don't think that they're ready, my guy. Michigan, they're going to have people storm the Capitol. They already announced it. They said they're going to have an armed
storm the Capitol for the second time?
An armed but peaceful protest. But just by let's keep them 100. Just from the position of being open carrying, that's a sign. That's a threat. That's a threat to me. that you come to some place that typically people don't come armed to, and you say you're coming armed but in peace.
Well, what does that mean?
And I'm all about Second Amendment rights. I'm all about Second Amendment rights, but you're not going to show up and tell me that it's in peace, and you know that folks typically don't show up armed like that in this spot. Like, what are you doing after everything that's already happened? These folks got Al-Qaeda type training camps in the woods of Washington and Maine and all these other places. They've been preparing for this, man. They know what time it is. And I don't think FBI, all these folks. I think, to be honest with you, man, this is really going to be a black eye amongst many other black eyes on the system, because folks have been talking about white supremacy, these militia groups and all these other things that have been building up for years, and they've never taken it seriously. Instead, they want to go after these black nationalist groups. What black nationalist groups?
That's been the way since we learned what COINTELPRO was. That's what they've always been. People talk about COINTELPRO like it's a thing of the past.
Nope.
It's still happening. And we don't learn about it until after the damage is done. We know Michigan militia was behind the Oklahoma City bomb.
Yes, indeed.
It's codified. They're allowed to exist. If there's not incriminating evidence to prove that person is it. Joe Biden's policies, what was it, Title 14, specifically talked about gangs. It didn't affect militias. It affected the Crips, the Bloods.
Say it one more time. See, I knew I made a good decision telling you. You know what? I'm not even gonna go there. You all right with me?
Please shut up.
But let me tell you, down here in Texas, they've been buying guns all year long. You go anywhere, the gun show is
you can't find ammo out this joint.
Many of the
listen, see what our girl Valerie said. I have enough classmates with Klan family members that have been telling us how they've been training for this for the last 7 months. 3 movies, 500-year history. We're still not ready.
That's good.
Yeah. But
my guy,
Elgin's the radical. Yeah.
Well, 2 things can be true, my guy. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. Man, take that day off, bro.
Carmen already said I'm taking my black ass is going to be in the house. I hope the rest of you guys are going to be in the house too. I'm not dealing with it.
I'm going to tell you what's scary to me is the love and the admiration that I see black women having for Kamala. I'm not bringing that up. I'm just saying that right there might make them make some improper decisions. I just really hope people are just not that. Oh, I ain't here, because when they pop off, you ain't gonna have no way to protect yourself. Like, stay home. Like, watch
for those folks that are out in these streets, I hope that they're ready. Like, no bullshit.
I hope so too. Yeah.
I hope that they're ready.
Yeah.
Shoot first, ask questions last. That's how most of the so-called gangsters last.
This is House of Cards. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah, no bullshit. All right, we're going to jump into the final segment for tonight, which is why we brought the whole Jay Scott on to help us tighten this thing up. The pandemic, unfortunately, has caused many small businesses across the nation and across the globe, to be very honest with you, to unfortunately have to close their doors. People are without work and so many other things that are affecting our economy. But somehow, some way, Brother Scott is going to give us a step-by-step process of how he took his journey to be able
no pressure, bro.
No pressure at all. To start his business in the middle of a pandemic.
Man, if you want to go get your wife and tell her to come on out and help you out, bro.
Are you reading my mind? I was like,
listen, bro.
I think you might be able to explain this a little bit better.
Says it better.
Listen.
Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, if you need assistance, bro, listen. Don't you take that black woman's glory.
I know, right?
She coming. She gonna
listen. I don't want that smoke, so let her come on and do her thing.
The name of the store is Lynn's Beauty Depot. My wife and I, you know, people, your soulmate. Our birthday, same day.
Scary.
Both our mom's name is Lynn.
Scary.
We found so many similarities, so we came out with a store. We said Lynn's Beauty Depot, and we opened it on Juneteenth symbolically, because during that time, right here in Texas, there were enslaved Africans that didn't know they were free. Sure. And just like now, during this pandemic, there's still a whole bunch of us enslaved-minded Africans that don't know we are free to practice group economics. We open our doors, and we've been partnering with so many people, making so many great connections. That
come on, man. We ain't gonna hurt her. Don't worry about it. She's a safe place. She looks like she'll whip all our ass. Anyway.
My lovely wife.
She looked like she would whip all our asses, including her.
How you gonna let her kneel down? How about you get up and let her sit down? Let her tell her story. Can she do that?
I'm okay.
See, you got a real one right there. Now, so we've got our brother on the show. We want to ask him and ask you now how you guys were able to start this process, the feeling that you got, the gut impact, how you brought it all together to start a business in the middle of a pandemic.
Crazy.
I live by the motto, do it scared. So I was scared, but either I'm going to, because to me, opening a business is scary no matter what, whether it's the pandemic or not. You know, you have all these concerns like, am I going to get the support I need? Am I going to be able to make rent? Are people going to continue to support me? Is this just going to be a facade for somebody in the beginning and then they don't ever come back? So the whole do it scared thing, I've basically done that my whole life. Like I joined the Navy, scared. I got out of the Navy, scared. I started selling hair in the Navy, scared. So why not start my business scared? So I was scared. I was afraid, but I kind of just stepped out on faith and was like, you know, it's my hometown. I've done enough for people to, you know, support me, you know, and that's what's really been paying off is the fact that my husband and I, we have bleeding hearts is what I say. We'll give you the shirt off our back, literally. And at some point, it just, you know, at some point, I knew it was going to come back around to us. And, it, you know, the business is what made it come back. But, yeah.
So would you say that it was because you already, before opening the business, you had already built a relationship or rapport with the community that you were in, and that helped to build that up?
No, because we had just moved back to DeSoto,
California,
and I was gone from home for 14 years.
Oh yeah, you knew.
So I was a totally different person. I was 19 when I left, and when I came back, I'm 30 plus. So they, you know, they don't know they know the 19-year-old Rhodesia. They don't know 33-year-old Rhodesia. So that was a little different. I did come home a lot and, you know, did stuff for people within my community, but we opened a store in a community that I'm not really from. I know Minnesota, but I'm from West Dallas. So that's kind of how that happened. But I think my name was out there enough for people to, you know, want to come out and support. And the fact that we opened in the middle of a pandemic, there was not a Black-owned beauty supply store anywhere close to us at the time. So I think
now it's 3.
Yeah, but I also feel like DeSoto, because of, you know, it's about 80+% Black. They've been waiting for something like this. I think they kind of just been like, you know, nobody ever did it, but you could tell they had been waiting, because when they come in the store, they're like, oh my God, I've been waiting for someone to do something like this. And, you know, so yeah.
So what has been one of the challenges that you guys have faced that you've been going through the process to start the business? Like I won't say the challenges. What was the biggest challenge that you faced trying to open the business?
And I explained this to somebody who came in the store today. It's not the people, because we get the support. It's on the other side, which is the accounts, dealing with, because we all know that the beauty supply industry is dominated by Koreans. The stores, the manufacturers, the distributors, it's all of theirs. And literally what was happening, not just to me, but a lot of other Black-owned beauty supply store owners, is we can't get the accounts that we need to stock our store with the right inventory that we know is going to sell. Wow. So what happens is they basically push us away, and they do it strategically. They literally say, hey, it's another beauty supply store too close to you, even though they're right around the corner from each other. Or they'll say, hey, we're not opening new accounts right now. Or they'll say, sure, we can open an account with you, but your minimum will be $15,000.
Helen wants to know what the name of your store is, so we need to post a link, and we'll make sure to share that. So,
and you asked me for all that. Can I write it in there, or where can I put it?
Go ahead and make a comment to the folks. I'll go ahead and tell me what it is, and I'll drop it in the comments for our folks, and we'll make sure to put that in our YouTube and Facebook when we ultimately share it as well. So those folks that are in the area can swing by. Okay,
it is Lynn's Beauty Depot, LYNN''S. Beauty Depot.
It's the same on all platforms. Twitter is DPT instead of Depot, but Facebook, Instagram, online, all the same name.
You'll see a peacock as like the profile picture. And basically the name came from my mom. So my mom's name is Lynn. We do a lot of stuff in remembrance of her.
Praise God. That's what's up.
My mom was murdered when I was 5 years old. So we, me and my brothers, we try our best to make sure that she's proud of us. And that's we paying homage to her. So, and crazy part about it is me and Jason got so much in common. His mom's name is Lynn too.
Yeah, he told us, he said that you are his soulmate.
Yeah.
So, okay. We see it.
She agreed.
That's what he was just saying that because it was being recorded and he was going to see it eventually. So I want to make sure that he
gave him the title of my soulmate before he did.
Wow.
Interesting.
Clear.
Interesting fact though, I knew it the day we met. I asked her, I was like, our birthday the same day. I don't know how I knew, but I knew. And when I walked away from her, I'm like,
man, I've used that line too, bro. Don't worry about it. I've used that same line. It works too, bro.
You know what? I thought that was a line he was using. I ain't lying to you. I went right upstairs to my administrative clerk and was like, hey, look up Human One Shot.
Watch out for that guy. You see that E5 over there? Watch out for him.
Birthday, and he looked it up and he turned around. He said, it's May 10th. I said, oh, okay.
Okay, Jay, I see you, brother. I see you.
Okay, as we're talking about this whole soulmate thing, let me ask you a question.
Oh, God.
When I see you in these streets, it's going to be a problem.
You know this, man. Every time you do that, I get scared, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I just get nervous.
Given that you guys are soulmates, given that you guys have been married for umpteen years, what has your marriage or relationship made easier about opening a business, and what has made it more difficult or challenging?
Oh, that is a good question. So technically, we have been married umpteen years. We've been knowing each other a long time.
Okay.
But the easy part about it is the fact that we understand teamwork. And, even though Jason works, he travels when he works, but when he come home, his focal point is family in the store. So when he's away, the store is just me, and my niece. We humping in that store, but he finds time to not only give us a break, but he finds time to spend time with our daughter. We have a 6-year-old, finds time to spend time with me, and then finds time to give me a break from the store. That's a lot. So that got
people all emotional going on in the comments. You see how that is?
Yeah.
But I'm adding on to what she's saying. It is about teamwork. We know it helps being military. We have base income, and I encourage people, when you're starting a business, before you start the business, if you don't have, say, your income built into your financing for your business, you have to have passive income so that if your business doesn't make money, you can keep thriving. People go in, and you wouldn't jump out of a plane without a parachute in the backup, I would hope. But people sometimes jump out with no parachute, like, oh, I'll make it, and then get mad. Like, you got to have a plan. The contingency plan is just intelligent. If you don't succeed, it's just been lessons learned. We've made a lot of mistakes, a lot of missteps with well-intention behind it. You can't focus so much on what you meant to do. You got to focus on what you actually did, and then
accomplish.
We're making 100. Share some of those mistakes with us, because I know that we have tons of folks that are entrepreneurial minded that for whatever reason they're scared. Like the mama said, they're scared to jump out there.
Yes.
And they don't want to do it scared. So give them some of the mistakes so they can try and learn from it and pick it and try and get ahead of the game.
Don't start a business with your own money. Don't ever start a business with your own money. Always get finance. Even if you take your own money and get put a CD and take a loan against the CD, borrow against something else. Don't use your own money, because when things don't go well, you're still going to have to borrow money to kind of get yourself back. With the pandemic, it's really about finding out what your norm is and trying to establish that as quick as possible. But financing is a lot more abundant. Well, it was a lot more abundant before COVID, and now it's restrictions. but don't be afraid to get financing, because that's going to build your business credit. That's going to get you into right business relationships with banks and, money lenders or whatever. You got to be able to invest.
Make sure that your personal credit is up to par. And the reason I say that is because when you first open your business, you don't have business credit. Yep. So no matter how you want to stay away from your personal finances, they're going to run your personal credit because you don't have anything else to stand on with the exception of your personal credit. So as long as that's up to par, it's easier to get financing. They also, I'm going to say this, they ain't just handing out money. They not. They sending you through the ringer, especially because of COVID. So a lot of these people like, I'm going to get a PPP loan and I'm going to EIDL. We didn't qualify for any of that stuff. Any of it. And the main reason we didn't qualify is because of our time in business. We didn't have enough time in business. That's the main reason. They want you to have a year plus 2 years, so they push out all of this info. Okay, well, you can get you some capital, and then you look at the application like you got to have 2 years. You have insurance companies who will not back you with business insurance unless you've been in business 2 years. How does that make any sense? Yeah. Like one of them is State Farm. You have to have been in business 2 years to even get business insurance through State Farm. So it's stuff like that. One thing that we learned along the way, if you're going to have a brick and mortar, please use a commercial realtor. They know the lingo. They know how to save you money. They know how to talk to that broker, that landlord, whoever. If you're not using a commercial realtor, you're just setting yourself up for failure out the gate, because the landlords, because you're bringing them money by renting their space, they're willing to give you abatement, which is basically free rent. They're willing to do your build out, so they'll give you a stipend just for a build out. Some people, if it's just an open space, they really want to do that, but they'll give you abatement. So using a commercial realtor, we use a commercial realtor, a really, really good friend of mine, and it paid off a lot. She found us a job. We got a beauty supply store. We were the only beauty supply store in the country with a drive-through. There's one more now in Georgia. She came after us, but it's 2 so far. Maybe other people picking up, but one of the reasons, and she's in business, so she understands. And her main focal point was the fact that if we have to shut down again, how will you be able to sustain
yourself? Yeah,
that is ingenious.
All the supply stores, they closed them. So she said, if you have a drive-through,
you can stay open.
Just like Jack in the Box, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King.
It's funny you say that. There's a hair supply store, not even a couple of blocks away. Every single one of them, even my glow-in-the-dark joint. But that joint actually just went out of business maybe a couple of weeks ago. Oh man! And they were suffering. I mean, it was owned by Koreans within the neighborhood, and they had been around for quite some time. And then the pandemic hit, and their supplies started drying up. And as the supplies started drying up, they're like, "All right, I guess it's not working." It went out of business, man. It went out of business.
Another thing is learning your demographics. One thing I did prior to opening is I posted surveys on Facebook all the time. Like, tell me your top 3 shampoos and conditioners. Tell me your top 3 edge controls. Tell me your top 3, what's some other stuff? Hair grease, hair oil. So what I did was I didn't go out and buy all the shampoos and conditioners there were to offer.
You bought the joint you knew that was going to run off the shelves.
That the people were going to buy. And I still do that. I still do it till this day. We take recommendations in our store. If I don't have at least 3 to 4 people recommending that product, I won't go buy it because it tells me it's just going to sit on the shelf. Because that one person not going to come buy 6 of the same type of product. They don't need that much.
Yeah.
So it helps to know your demographics, and it helps to build relationships with the people in your community. So at my grand opening, the first Black mayor of Detroit was there. He did a speech at my grand opening.
He was talking about Haiti and their independence. I was so impressed. Like, look,
he didn't hold anything.
His card sitting right here. Carl Sherman, the Texas representative. He's the first Black mayor and the first woman mayor.
And the first woman mayor,
Black woman.
She's passed away. She came to my store. When the first time she came, I wasn't there. She told my niece, "Don't tell her, but I'm coming back. I want to meet this young lady." So she came back, she pulled up, she was looking all fancy in her red car. She got out the car, she had a mask on. She said, I bet you don't even know who I am. I said, yes, I do. And when she was like, I wish I could hug you, you know. And building those relationships has kind of, you know, made it easier for us to be, you know, approached by the community, because some people, they kind of look at you strange when you come plop down in their city and open up.
You're right about that. You're right about that.
You know, and they made it a little easier. And we had a line down the street.
That's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
That is what's up. That is what's up. Mom, I can't thank Jay because, I mean, he just showed up. But Mom, I appreciate you coming through and breaking everything down to us and sharing your insight. We really appreciate it. The only thing that can make this experience better is if you send me a bottle of Cantu and that peppermint shampoo. I need some of that in my life. How about
I'm not sending you a bottle of Cantu because
that's another thing we do.
A lot better than Cantu. I can't. So reason being is, you know, we gotta protect our crown.
But I keep getting heat from these two light-skinned clowns over here. My main be on.
So L
Cantu has way too much alcohol.
We got y'all. We're gonna put something in the mail for y'all.
Anything for the beard, bro. Anything for the beard, I'll take it.
I see y'all rocking your beards.
Part of the dark skin union. You're not supposed to do me like that, my guy. You're not supposed to do that. You know, please.
Addresses and stuff, so we'll send y'all out some care packages and stuff. So, you know, and I'm trying to take a look at y'all here right now. They'll take their head up.
Before you guys head out, man, please tell our folks where they can find you on social media, where the store is actually located, all of that stuff.
Okay, so we're on social media, Lens Beauty Depot, LLC on Facebook, Lens Beauty Depot on Instagram, and Lens Beauty Depot on Twitter. When I say Depot, it's DPT. We have an online store, which is www.lensbeautydepot.com. And we do delivery. We have a standard delivery fee. I think it's what, $8? Yeah.
It's COVID $20.
No, it's not. It's the other end of the delivery. Also, if you're in the local area and you don't want to get out your car, you can order your products online, choose local pickup, and come through the drive-thru.
Do the drive-thru. God damn, black people being smart in the motherfucker.
We are located at 1488 Northampton Road, DeSoto, Texas, 75115.
That is what's up.
The phone number 469-747.
If you want to carry something in the store, please call. Don't hesitate. We answer the phone. You ain't gonna hear the phone ain't just gonna ring. And if we're gonna pick up that phone. The phone is right up under us, so we'll pick it up. Ask whatever questions you gotta ask. We ain't funny like that. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna answer the phone anyway. So,
if you look on the Google, you'll see the image. We have a mural that got painted Madam C.J. Walker's face, and one of her quotes that we love: "Do not sit and wait for opportunity to come to you. Get up and make it." That's right in front of our store, because we wanted to give people that inspiration that whatever it is you're striving to do, stop waiting for other people to come do it for you. Get up and start doing it, and the people will come to you to help you. And we witnessed that over the course of this year. The people that have come into the store and talked to us, it's mind blowing. Radio DJs, we ain't never ever, they just showed up and chilling with us, calling us out on the radio, and about just putting yourself into that. If you want to make money, if money is the thing that you need to get a lot of things you want in life, your focus should be on doing what you love and finding out a way to monetize that thing.
That's what's up.
That's the key.
And what our motto is, Lens Beauty Depot is for the people, our people.
Yeah, that's what's up. No doubt. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Mama. I'm not talking about Jake. Thank you for taking time out and joining us and having this conversation. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good night, you guys.
Okay. Y'all be easy, man. Thank you.
Peace. All right about now it's time, and we'd like to give you little tidbits of news or words of wisdom that you can take with yourself into the week. So, Crush, what's up?
Gosh, I guess the only thing that that comes to mind is that lighter note. Looking forward to seeing WandaVision tomorrow.
Okay, I see you. I know you're on there. I was looking the other day and I was reading the new story of Batman by John Ridley. I think that's really.
Oh, you're talking about the Future State story?
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a very interesting run.
Yeah, I took a gander.
I'm reading it now. It's pretty good.
Yeah, they definitely, even though DC loves to spoil shit, they did throw a little curveball at you for a minute there, because we all thought we knew it was going to be, but then
it's not who it is.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
Oh, good. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
The first issue they don't reveal very much. It's just him in action, which is dope.
Yes, dope.
Awesome.
Especially that one particular moment.
That's the moment.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We know what's going on.
L, what's up, man?
Hey, man. Your boy Biden released his emergency corona stimulus plan. Overall, the plan is whatever. But the thing that I'm excited about the most is the fact that he's extending the eviction moratorium. For those folks who don't know, the CDC actually invoked a national eviction moratorium that was going to end January 31st, which meant that February 1st, landlords would be able to have the opportunity to start evicting people in the midst of a pandemic. But part of Biden's plan is actually to extend that eviction moratorium to September 30th.
This year, 2021. Okay.
2021, which is, I'll take it. That's a field that I'm passionate about, and I'm excited about that part of the plan.
I can understand. What's up for me this week is actually, let me make sure that I have Letitia James, who is the Attorney General for the city of New York. She has just filed a lawsuit against the entire New York City Police Department. She just said anybody can get it, and I got clips loaded and ready for all of y'all. She said that it is unfortunate, and she does not blame all police officers. However, the pathological way that they have gone about tackling and addressing Black people and people of color in the United States, in New York City, specifically during the protests, has shown their true colors. And she's going full hog against everybody, my guy. She's like, all y'all, people are going to be punished. And this is the first time I'm seeing it. This is my concern quickly, is that we saw how this happened with Miss Mosby in Baltimore.
Yeah.
New York City's a different beast.
Yeah.
So
Protect Black women.
I'm sorry?
Protect Black women.
Yes, say that one more time, because I'm actually kind of worried for her well-being after, when she had her over an hour. She even called out de Blasio. She was like, de Blasio said that X, Y, and Z was warranted during we saw it with our own eyes what happened. Blasio said that it was warranted. Nah, me as an attorney looking at it wasn't warranted. And many of these reasons is why I'm coming after these folks. So I hope
security detail.
No doubt. Well, even security, it has to be private security.
And you know what I'm saying, her own security detail.
I'm here for it, man. I'm ready for it. I'm glad that she's doing it. Took a strong Black woman to step into that seat and be able to do it. I'm just hoping that everything goes well. That's as much as I want to say, man. All right. Want to thank you guys for actually. Elle always tells me that it's on the screen. Never mind. Elle, where can people find you if they'd like to find you, man? Can you say it for the people that are actually just listening?
For you people who are on YouTube.
I know. We don't need folks throwing up in the comments again last minute and shit. Just tell these folks, man.
Elgin Bailey, Twitter, Facebook.
No doubt. Crush, where can people find you if they want to find you, man?
You know where you can find me on Instagram under SB Methods, aka Bridge or the Orange Crush. Looking forward to new episodes of the Blurredverse podcast and the Look of Love podcast.
No doubt. And I am Big O, Mr. In the Black himself. You can find me everywhere on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff at MR_In the Black. And I want to thank you once again for joining us for another incredible episode of the In the Black podcast. You could have been anywhere else in the world, but you chose to kick it with us, and we appreciate it. Once again, continue to help us support independent Black media, where we give you the real all the time. Make sure you follow us across social media at In the Black PDCST on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. And as always, informed, intelligent, in the Black.
Yes.
In the Black.